Headlines: Ethiopia bans local deals on foreign exchange as it tightens control. Queen Elizabeth II has passed away yesterday. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Yabsron Dimteka with tonight's news from African Renaissance Television. Stay tuned. United States has sent a special envoy to broker peace in Ethiopia. The special envoy for the Horn of Africa, Mike Hammer, returned to Ethiopia 12 days after fighting resumed between federal forces and Tigrayan rebels. The renewed clashes have quashed hopes for peace talks and threatened to spread conflict following reports that Eritrean forces have re-entered the war and fighting is reported near the border of Sudan. Ayuela Babao has more details.
In the news release, the US State Department said Mr. Hammer was planning to meet with politicians and civil society groups to discuss how to prompt a long-lasting peace for Ethiopia. Mr. Hammer visited Ethiopia after the conflict between the Ethiopian federal government and rebels with the Tigray People's Liberation Front, which resumed August 24th, ending the 5-month ceasefire. William Davison, an analyst with the International Crisis Group, a Belgian-based political analysis firm, said stability in Ethiopia is of great concern to the US. Davison stated that above and beyond the desire to bring about peace because of its intrinsic benefits to Ethiopia because of the devastation the conflict is causing, the US is of course concerned about the regional and geopolitical implications of increasing instability in Ethiopia, a critical country in the Horn of Africa, which is an important strategic reason itself.
Ethiopia's central bank introduces measures of banning foreign exchange on local transactions, tightening its already rigid controls. Ayuela Babao Mesfin has details on the news.
The National Bank of Ethiopia slashed the number of days that returning residents can hold foreign currency to 30 days from 90 days, according to a directive on its website. Ethiopians who live abroad and visit their country are required to deposit foreign notes in a savings account if they stay longer than 3 months. It also increased the amount that nationals can bring into the country without a customs declaration to $4,000 from $1,000. Foreigners arriving with over $10,000 must disclose their holdings to custom officials, a jump from the previous $3,000.
United Nations state that Somalia is about to be hit by a famine soon. United Nations state that Somalia is showing concrete evidences of famine and will occur later this year in Somalia's southern Bay region. Ayuela Babao has more details on the matter.
This falls just short of a formal famine declaration, as thousands are dying in a historic drought made worse by the effects of the war in Ukraine. UN humanitarian chief Martin Griffiths told reporters he was shocked to his core these past few days, on a visit to Somalia in which he saw starving babies too weak to cry. More than 850,000 people are in the affected areas, with tens of thousands more arriving in the months to come, according to UN experts. The Russia-Ukrainian war has brought unfortunate consequences for some African countries, including Somalia, which has suffered from a shortage of humanitarian aid as international donors have their focus on Europe. Somalia sourced at least 90% of its wheat from Russia and Ukraine before the war and has been hit hard by scarcity and sharp rises in food prices.
Africa faces a dilemma regarding the Russo-Ukrainian war. Many African countries have refused to take a concrete stand and condemn Russia for the ongoing war with Ukraine. Western countries have tried to get African countries to echo the same rhetoric, but as of yet, only a few African countries have taken a solid stand. Ayuela Babao has more on the matter to say.
In the early days of the conflict, after 17 African countries declined to back a UN resolution condemning Russia, several European diplomats assigned to African capitals made a grand show of browbeating African leaders for not taking a stand against the invasion. To date, only a handful of African countries, Ghana, Kenya and Nigeria among them, have taken a strong stance on the war, and even these have focused primarily on denouncing aggression more broadly and on general calls for diplomacy and peace rather than on specific criticism of Moscow. Despite continued Western pressure, however, the situation has not changed much in the months since. In July, for example, French President Emmanuel Macron travelled to Central Africa and West Africa to rally support for Ukraine, yet he managed only to rankle many African leaders when he accused them of hypocrisy for refusing to condemn the war.
Uruguay celebrated their 197th Independence Day. After becoming independent from Spain in 1811 and becoming annexed by Brazil, Uruguay became an independent nation in 1821. The Embassy of Uruguay, found in Addis Ababa, celebrated their Independence Day, hosted by Ambassador Nestor Rosa, amongst colleagues, diplomats, officials, and invited guests. The former Queen of England passed away on September 8 at the age of 96. The Queen was coronated in 1953 and after a long rule has come to rest. Our condolences to her family. This has been tonight's news. Thank you for staying tuned. Once again, I am Absarandum Takka from African Renaissance Television. Good night.